Hello, and welcome to this episode of BookSmarts Authors on Show, a creation of Clarissa Burt, founder of In the Limelight Media. I am your host, Cristina Francy, and today I'm so thrilled to be interviewing Mustafa Ammar, who is the founder and CEO of the Passion MBA, a global coaching company. He's also the author of Time to Move On and The Passion Project. Mustafa, it's such an honor to have you on. But before we dive into the book today, can you give the audience a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to where you are today?
Sure. Thank you so much, Christina, for having me on your show. And I never had a plan to come to this stage in my life. I was always trying to pursue my passion. So in a reincarnation terms, I would say I lived 5 career lives in this life. Hopefully there is an opportunity for more. I started my first career as a pharmacist, and that was out of passion for chemistry. I didn't enjoy the fact being a pharmacist. So once I graduated as a pharmacist, started working, I thought, no, I want to change. And I tried to build a plan. And my plan was to be a diplomat. I took 3.5 years while working as a pharmacist, studying, preparing for a national competition to be a diplomat. Of course, it wasn't easy. It was one of my most difficult, situations in my life. Luckily, I did it. I became a diplomat. I serve as an Egyptian diplomat. I work in the United Nations in New York. I work in Malawi in Africa and in China. In China, I spent a long time of my life. I spent almost 10 years of my life, whether studying Mandarin and then working as an Egyptian diplomat there. And then I thought at some point that I reached the peak of my career and I wanted another challenge. And the new challenge was moving to investment banking. So I moved to a multinational bank, which is very, very similar to the World Bank in nature, headquartered in China. Was a very interesting experience because I had a bit of private sector experience in pharmacy. Then I work, as a public servant for a while. And then now I'm moving to the multinational world and also a bit of private sector. So I worked in the bank for 4 years. Was a very interesting experience covering infrastructure investment across the whole map, from Asia all the way to Latin America. I thought this is my lifetime job, and I'm not going to change. I did my MBA during that time. I thought I was doing my MBA to grow more in my career. And what happened, MBA is like you're knocking on different doors, exploring the possibilities of yourself. And I thought, okay, it's the time to be an entrepreneur and coach what you learn in your life and do something different, be your own boss. And this is how I ended up running a coaching business since 2020. That's my full life. I run a coaching business. The title is the Passion MBA. So since then, building on my practical experience in pivoting careers successfully, I managed to build a very interesting practical blueprint. It's called the Passion Blueprint. Luckily, I helped dozens to hundreds of people in many different capacities to find their dream careers. And right now, I'm at a stage where I thought, okay, if you're able to serve hundreds, there might be a way to serve more than this, whether thousands or hundreds of thousands or more. So I'm building an online platform right now. It's a startup. Hopefully, it would serve as many people as I could to find their dream career. And as we talk, my first book, Time to Move On, is out, speaking of all those career myths that I discovered along the journey.
Well, that is a very interesting background. And I commend you for being successful in all the fields that you've, tried, went into. But so, diving into the book, the Time to Move On, the first myth in the book is you have to be a supreme specialist. Why are you starting with this myth? And if you were to choose specialist or generalist, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, we all grow up in, whether it's our school system or, our families, relatives, we have to stick to one specialization. The only definition for success is to just define something, early specialize, and spend all your life in that specialization. I recall when I was 6, 7 years old, like a gathering of family, they were asking me that question, and they were asking me, okay, who you want to be when you grow up. And I think I say 5 or 6 things. I wanted to be a soccer player. I want to be an astronaut, an engineer, and and the answer was really shocking to me at that time. And it's like, no, 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 you cannot be any of these. Just stick to one, just pick one. I had that always in my mind, but also I had my I would say my dreams of freedom of dreaming. I wanted to dream about whatever I would be. And over time, I thought if I'm a pharmacist, I want to be a diplomat. There is a sunk cost here. I am missing my expertise and my specialization and moving somewhere else where other people are much better and much more advanced than me. But then over those career transitions, I figure out that when you have enough dots to connect, when you have experience in medicine and then a bit of global affairs and economics and then a bit of investment and here, you get to have enough dots to connect. And this is where the magic happens. Definitely right now, with all the choices I have, with all the experience I have, if I choose one specific life, whether it's a pharmacist only or a diplomat or a banker, I would choose all of the above. And it's not about the destination, it's about the journey of being capable of challenging yourself, conquering those challenges, and discovering more things about yourself. I never thought I would be able to learn those skills or conquer those challenges. But the more you discover about yourself, the more you can do more. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, no, I love that. Challenge yourself and prove to yourself that, anything is possible and you are capable if you put your mind to it and if your heart's in it. I love that. So they say change is too risky. It's risky to have all these changes. Why do you have to say, what do you have to say about that? And how can you explore one's passion and minimize the risks involved? For example, like without jeopardizing your financial security, amongst other things.
Yeah, definitely. And I always hear this, I have bills to pay and it's important. I know, I understand. And also I have my own bills to pay. But my humble advice on this, while you're having those bills and taking care of them, why not explore your passions and explore something that you really enjoy doing? In my case, the riskiest thing is keeping the status quo, because if you don't have enough options, or you run out of options, this is actually the most risky situation that you have. So playing it safe is actually the riskiest situation ever. While hopefully being able to diversify your options, knowing that you would have more options that you have right now, is actually the safest way. So while you're having what you're having, keep that, having it in your hands, try to explore further. And also in my coaching business, I don't advise anybody just to jump in the ocean and, leave whatever you have and just start from scratch. We devise a plan. Exactly. So you need to have a plan. You need to, okay, this is what I have, and this is where I want to go. And maybe 6 months from now, I will be somewhere there. 1 year from now, I'll be somewhere there. And then when you are able to see the potentials that you would have in the future, and you see your future self, you are changing to be that new person who is able and capable to do things, you would let go, your past things. So I would advise moving forward while you are keeping what you have for some time.
Yeah. Well, is there such thing as being too old to switch careers? Like, how old is too old to switch?
To my surprise, it's never too late. And in my book, I'm sharing a few very interesting stories that for people that I met. Even some of them I met when I was doing my MBA. So I would share Dave's story. I met him while I was doing my MBA. I was still in the banking career and never thought I would write this book at that time. And the guy was 68 years old. And I remember like you are doing this MBA with, with 30 years old, like your grandchildren around you. And I asked him, like, why are you doing this? I remember his answer was, well, I'm working as an accountant in a school. I think I would learn few more skills to diversify my experience and pivot my career. And I thought, 68 years old man who is able to pivot his career. This is awesome. I looked at him. I just keep looking at him for the 4 days workshop that we were working together. I thought maybe he would be a bit lazy, counting on his grandchildren while they are working for him. But he was as active as each one of us. He was working until 2, 3 a.m. every single day in the morning. And the final day of the workshop, he gave one of the finest presentations I ever saw. And that was a lesson I learned that time, 6, 7 years ago, is it's never too late. I mean, and the guy is using his own experiences in changing his own career. It's never too late.
Yeah, no, it really is never too late. I feel especially now in this era, like the older generations, like people didn't switch careers as much as they do now. And the opportunities are endless. You can do anything, like you've gone from the pharmacy world to diplomacy, to investment banking, to coaching and tech development. Like you also are really involved in charity work from what I know.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give for someone interested in switching into any one of those fields? Can you share a little bit more of your wisdom, please?
Of course. We would think of this analog. Let's imagine for a while that we are driving our car, I would say from New York to San Francisco. So we are driving together. It would take a couple of days, for example. So I assume we need 3 essential elements. The first one is enough gas for the whole journey. Number 2 is a GPS that help us, to find our ways. And the third is a final address, like where exactly you want to go in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So if we don't have enough gas, we'll run out of gas at some point, somewhere in the middle. Also, if you don't have a GPS, you will get lost hundreds of times in the middle and will never get, to the final destination. Also, there's no benefit of having a GPS without that address that you need to write down on your GPS. Let's apply this to our life, our career. Enough gas means enough passion. If you don't have enough passion for whatever you're doing, you run out of passion, you run out of gas at some point, and you will stop. The majority of people I work with, they don't know why they stopped. They don't know why they're burnt out or why there is a career plateau or whatever is happening. They don't know the reasons. And in most of the cases, it's because their passion shifted. It's shifted a bit and they don't know. They cannot see that. Your GPS is your values. And many of us work in careers or jobs that don't satisfy those values. And I advise everybody to be clear of your own core values. I would give just an example. Freedom can be a value. Family can be a value. So if you work in a career that endangers your freedom, you work for 15 hours every day, or it's not a freestyle job or so, you wouldn't be happy, wouldn't be satisfied. And the final destination is an ideal dream lifestyle. And actually, if I ask each one of us, what's your dream lifestyle? What's your ideal day? What's your ideal weekend? Mm-hmm. And if you can imagine a bit in details how that looks like, and then manage to find a few passions that you can work on, and those passions are in careers that satisfy your values, you will not get lost and you will get to your ideal lifestyle. I call this the passion blueprint. Ideally, if you manage to find top 2 passions, 3 passions, work around them, know your values, don't endanger them, satisfy them, and then get closer to your dream lifestyle. There are always time where we work in things that we don't like, we don't enjoy, but be sure you have a plan, you have a transitional plan where, like, I'm not going to spend all my life in this. I'm going to spend a year or 2, but then I am planning my next step based on that blueprint.
Yeah, no, that's a really great information. And I think it's really important that people do kind of like map it out. So they're, like you said earlier, not just like thrown into the ocean and, they can defend for themselves, and you're still able to take care of your responsibilities and work towards that dream life of your core values, what's going to bring you passion and, fulfillment in your career and how you want to your legacy really in the world,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how can people get their hands on this book?
It's available on Amazon. Time to move on. Also, you can find it through my website, Mustafa, Mustafa Ammar, Ammar.com. And I look forward to see people busting the myth, because I think it's, let's say, it's a foundational step. Like if you, let's imagine if you are imagining your life or career as a project and you are building those projects, I think the best way and the first way step is to bust the myth. Stuff like, oh, I have to specialize in one career all my life to be successful, or no, it's so late to change, or change is too risky, or all of that. So it's a major step toward finding your dream career by busting the myth.
Awesome. And is there like a free little gift or something like that when someone purchases the book? Can you explain that?
Yeah. I have an ebook, downloadable on the passionmba.com, and it's the 10 top mistakes to avoid to when you are transitioning your career. So if we have the 7 myths that you should bust and the 10 top mistakes, I think you are in good hands before finding your dream career.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and dropping all of your knowledge. And this book is, I think, the perfect blueprint for someone to really busting through and doing what they really want to do in their life, and, setting limits, or actually busting their limits that they think they have in order to achieve their ultimate career goals. All of Mustafa's information is down below in the show notes. Don't be shy. Go say hi. And thank you everyone for listening to this episode of BookSmarts Authors on Show, a creation of Clarissa Burt, founder of In the Limelight Media. And thank you so much again for listening.
Thank you so much, Cristina. It's a pleasure being with you today. Thank you.